Hey guys, welcome to another episode of AA for Entrepreneurs. We are here with Dave Barr today from Fish Shit. So welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
All right.
Great, suffering through sober October, day 2. It's like,
Yeah.
trying to push through.
Got that gnawing caffeine withdrawal headache.
Oh, I don't know. I've been getting plenty of my caffeine. Can't live without it. No,
Oh man,
forget that.
it's so hard. But I did this last year too to cut out caffeine, and really it's like the first 2 or 3 days are tough, and then you gotta get over it, and you're I'm pretty much the same. I just don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
And then once you drink that first cup, you're like, right back
in.
square one.
Right. Yeah, I need it.
That's what happened to me. I think I quit coffee for a month, and then I just made the mistake of just taking a sip and being like, coffee's good, I don't want to quit.
Yeah, you get that right back in, yeah.
Oh yeah. So if for the people that might not know who Fish Shit is, tell them a little bit about what y'all do.
Sure. So Fish Shit is the flagship product of Fish Head Farms, and it is a probiotic for your plants, in the simplest terms.
Yeah, essentially. I never thought about that way. It really is a probiotic for your plants.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
It's like yogurt.
Exactly.
So how long have you been in this entrepreneurial landscape?
So I started my first business in 2011, which was the fish farm and hydroponics. So I started off with the aquaponics model in mind, back in 2011, with raising the Barr family farm.
Yeah.
And was that with the intent of probiotics for plants?
It was always part of the plan, yes.
Yeah.
So that came, the fish shit in that formula came later, just because it took that long to develop it. So a lot of observation of, starting with the plants and, because when I first started it, I knew nothing really about agriculture, in a commercial sense. I was a high school chemistry teacher, starting from 1999 up to 2011, and I continued teaching even after I started the business. But so once I started the fish farm and the hydroponics operation, a lot of it was learning on the go.
Dude, you would have been a cool teacher to have. No wonder why you two get along so well. Man. It's all clicking in my head now. Chemistry, so all right.
Yeah.
So what makes you guys, well actually let's go even simpler than that. Kind of explain to people what the difference is between hydroponics and aquaponics.
So aquaponics is where you're using the fish to provide the nutrients for the system. Essentially the plants, and what all plants do, they live off of the shit from some other organism.
Yep.
Whether it's the shit from the worms, which if you really break it all down, it was all microorganism shit. So even in our own intestines, the microorganisms in our own intestines, we eat their shit, which is called amino acids and carbohydrates. Right, so so if you think about it like that, the organisms in our gut shit out amino acids,
So we're like an
carbohydrates, and lipids, and we are, yes, essentially. So it all works, in the same thing as the plant roots. So the organisms that are eating, whatever organic material in the plant roots, they're shitting out carbohydrates, fats, amino acids, along with the nitrates and everything. But that's, that all. So. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
It's kind of it reminds me of our gut biome is kind of like their tenants. They're our tenants. And we give them a space to live, and in return, they pay us in nutrients.
that is exactly it, yeah.
It is a freaky thing to think that right now my skin is crawling with billions of bacteria.
It is. It is.
It's weird. And then of course hydroponics is just using nutrients instead of using the fish. So the aquaponics is just closed loop basically. Everything is just
Correct.
recycling through, and I love aquaponics. Watching it happen. Jeff Letendre, I know you know him from CGA.
Yep.
He does aquaponics.
Oh, does he? Yeah.
It's so fascinating just watching everything get set up and filtering everything through, and then having the shrimp on the roots to eat anything bad that's on there. It's crazy. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're nerding out over here on like growing stuff.
And you know what? Probably a lot of the people that are watching this
Sure.
are probably like looked you up and was like, oh, you know what? Fish shit. That looks like a great product. What's this about? And then they're kind of clicking on here, and here they are. So when you decided, all right, you know what? I'm gonna chase this entrepreneurial dream, but I'm not gonna really let go of the teaching job yet. I feel like I'm actually in that boat right now. I'm not a teacher, but I'm kind of like, I'm half out the door. So is that kind of what you did until you realized that, oh, I can make a steady income from this?
No, it was more that just pure economics. I needed a job to put money on the, to put food on the table. So, without having a large, without having a backer with very deep pockets, or having enough money where you could give yourself, years to lose money, then you have to do something on the side. And that is the hard part about starting your own business, is if you don't have the deep pockets or the backer, then you have to do double duty.
I feel that completely. Like we spend so much time building the business, haven't made money yet for ourselves. It's part of the game, and like I don't even have time most of the time to like work part time. It's like shit. Where's the money come? Trying to push through. Like it's coming.
Yeah. So you're feeling, and that is the hard part about entrepreneurship.
Yep.
Is it's the perseverance. And my wife and I often talk about that, because I decided to do this, in my genius, to be in the teaching for 10 plus years, and then decide to up and change the direction completely. And kids, wife, mortgage, obligations, and those don't go away when you want to start the business. And so, but when you have something and you believe in it, it's that perseverance. It's how much, and grit, so because and we've often, because at times it's very, it's difficult. It puts a lot of strain on relationship, your family, even extended family. Because a lot of times people look at you and be like,
where you been?
What the fuck are you doing? I don't know. Can I swear on this? It's like people look at, what the fuck are you thinking? Like you left your teaching. Who quits a teaching job?
Safety, right? Yeah, gets rid of the safety blanket.
It is, but I didn't want to. It stopped being fun for me, and so that aspect of it, I wanted to change direction, but and it's difficult, and I ended up having to go back to teaching because I didn't estimate correctly how much money I would have before I started bringing money in to make money. I had no idea, I had no clue. I just had a dream and I went for it, and and then
that's what you got to do. Timing is like, sometimes you don't choose your timing. Like we're in the midst of building a new business while I have an 8-month-old. Like, who decides to build a business on the verge of having a baby? It's the stupidest timing ever.
It is. It's terrible. It's a terrible idea, And I would say, don't do it. But on the flip side, I would say,
do it.
Fucking do it. What do like right at the end of the day, like.
Is the only way to breathe.
Yeah.
Without it, it's like, I remember I'd have jobs where I'd pull into the parking lot and I'd grip both ends of the steering wheel and just scream like, I don't want to do this again, like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's the perseverance. It's because like you start to think like, I don't want to go back to that. I can't go back to that and maintain happiness. So with fish, what sparked the idea?
Well, being a chemistry teacher, science geek, in that environment, I was fortunate enough that at my high school that I taught at, they had an aquaculture program, and me and the other teacher were buddy, and I would bring classes down there often. And once I had, I hit a point where I was like, I have to find something else. So now I started looking, and we got to talking one day, and I thought that there was a market there that could be created with local tilapia. There was, because back in 2008, to 2010, where I was really starting to, make this decision, the local farming movement was just starting to kind of catch traction.
Yep.
And I wish I had started, obviously 3 years before, because as soon as I started doing it, it seemed like there was a lot of people starting to get into it. But there was some awareness, and him and I, we often went back and, a lot of brainstorming together. And I felt like there was a market for local tilapia and, hydroponic, the aquaponic, vegetables. And
so it was a timing thing again. Like it was like your understanding of the biology of what comes from the fish shit, and then it's like there's a problem, here's a solution. Like this fish shit could help all the farmers out, like on a less expensive basis, most likely than having to use a bunch of expensive nutrients and everything.
Right. Well, yeah, but that came later though. Initially, I was just gonna do the aquaponic model, raise the fish, sell the vegetables. So if you look at that kind of model, your fish are break even. You don't make any money off of like the sale of the fish, but that by break even, like that runs your operation.
Yes.
It pays for the heat, pays for so that's you don't make any money. But the vegetables, there's no, because you're already because the fish are the break even point, the vegetables are your profit. So that's that's that model. And a lot of people tried to do it indoors, and which I totally disagree with trying to do that. Or to do vegetables indoors is just economically insane.
Yeah.
I was looking at all these people trying to do this in the Midwest, where they were getting tilapia farms up and running, but they were doing it in warehouses. So not only did you have to heat the tanks of the warehouse, you had to pay for lighting, heat the whole building, rent the building.
But outdoor aquaponics is all set up.
Yeah, so for it was more the growing part. So that's what. So I went a different route. I went into a greenhouse with the whole operation, so I could use the natural sunlight. Now that now I'm limited to, the seasonal growth cycles, but that's you get free sunlight, and that's your biggest cost right there. So
there's no grow light even touching the sun, not even close, like dropping the bucket compared to the power of the sun. It's incredible watching outdoor plants compared to indoor plants. Like indoor plants, you could put the best light in the world on them, the strongest light in the world on them, and then throw a plant outside, you're gonna get better buds outside probably, thicker and.
Yeah. It's totally different animal,
Yep.
and but that's like economically, how can you grow now for cannabis? It makes sense because of the price points. But to grow tomato or to grow lettuce under grow lights, even if they're T5s or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just economically, it's not. It didn't work. A lot of these places, it didn't work out. If it did, I don't know. But for me, that's why I went down that road. And try to keep it a more natural environment.
Yeah.
You're going to get a better flavor profile. Or at least I think. There's no. I don't know if there's been any studies, done or anything, scientific. Like, do you get a better tasting?
Indoor.
With natural sunlight in the full spectrum versus a grow light.
I've seen greenhouse cannabis at the same level as indoor. Usually with outdoor, it's just tough because you're facing the elements. So it's getting rained on, bugs are eating it. Like there's just different things to worry about than indoors. So I think that's a major reason why like the quality is a little bit better. But if you talk to everybody that's like in the know, Big Mike from Advanced Nutrients, Danny Danko works for High Times, like they all say outdoor growing is the future for cannabis. Because like you're saying, it's just not economically sustainable to grow indoors, especially with 1,000-watt lights times a bunch, it's not cheap.
It does, right, and now that with legalization, that changes the whole game because when it was illegal, you could run the lights, you got that price point because of the scarcity.
Yep.
now when buds, going to be $10 an ounce, right? Like that's where it's going. Outdoor bud, it's going to be so all the indoor, it's just going to you're not going to be able to compete, maybe in niche markets, but yeah.
And it makes sense why people say like outdoor is the future, because buds that are grown under the sun are just better. They found a direct correlation between UVB rays and resin production, cannabinoid production. So I think the whole thought process is that the UVB or the resin, the cannabinoids, help defend the plant against the radiation. So inside, you're not going to really have that unless you supplement with UVB lights. So maybe that's a real good perspective too. When the price is going to go way down, it's going to be just like lettuce, and carrots. So it's like it's not even going to be worth growing inside.
Right.
Yeah, they'll have like that small craft like niche market that they could attack, but most people just want to smoke weed. Right.
Yeah. If the outdoor, it's comparable in quality to the indoor.
Nobody's gonna care that. Well,
Yeah.
I can't say nobody, but majority of people just won't care. If it's 80% as good as indoor, they're gonna be like, whatever, cheaper.
Yeah, and once it's all ground, once you grind that up and put it in a joint, nobody's gonna know the difference. You won't know where it came from.
Yeah, we grew some white widow outdoors, and that smokes so good. I think so.
Yeah.
It's nice and smooth, and just because again, like outdoors, you don't need to use as many nutrients either. Like you can build your soil. And then you build your soil and you build your plant. It's that easy. Like we probably fed 7 times through the season.
Yeah, twice a month.
Wow.
Like it's barely. And then we'd put, compost teas and stuff like that to help break everything down. But the difference between that and indoor growing, I had a schedule of watering and feeding Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every single week. Never failed. And then I would do my other stuff Tuesday, Thursday. So every day I'm just like packed with stuff. Outdoors we're like, what do we do? Until now.
That's it. Yeah.
Now it's like, what do we do? There's so many plants.
There's 200 pounds of flour we need to cut and trim by hand.
Yeah. This year I didn't do much outdoor. Just the fish ship business is now we're at such a point that is consuming. Because it literally is handmade.
Yeah.
The way that I make the fish shit.
That's awesome.
So it takes a lot of, now that the volume was up, it takes a lot of my time. So I didn't do, I did a little patch of autoflowers, So I'm done. It's in my jars, I'm good for the winter. That's why I did the autoflower, in New England, you just get that, every year I did my greenhouse crops, you battle on that bud rot this time of year. And,
especially with cannabis genetics, like traditional cannabis genetics. With us, with hemp, we're seeing opposite. Like there's spots where a borer will come through, it'll shit on the nug, and the nug will start rotting and just dry out and die. I've never seen that on traditional cannabis. I've always been told that it's systemic. When it gets to your plant, it goes systemic and your plant's screwed. We are seeing.
So and it's strain specific too. So even in outdoor, one strain might be loaded with a mildew, and the other strain's got nothing. And that's a lot of fun with trying to pick the different strains for New England outdoor.
All of it, most of the genetics were bred for California, right? Humboldt, Colorado, and then we come here and it's like totally different. Yep. But the good thing with the legalization and it being more accepted is that people are starting to grow and pollinate things here, so everything's getting more acclimated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like our genetics have been here for 3 years now. It's the 3rd year. And it's just crazy seeing them compared to, we got a row of genetics from somebody else that's pretty new to the region. The whole row got bud rot.
Yeah.
There was the worst looking plants, the largiest looking plants, the smallest looking plants, the ones that have been here for 3 years.
Wow.
8 feet tall, 10, 15
Hey, what
feet
are all
wide.
these like gorilla growers that have been growing in, around here since like the 70s? Where are those guys? Why can't they got to come out and tell us young kids how to do this? What strain are this? Because there's people out here, they know, but
the problem is a lot of the old timer guys that are like, against legal cannabis kind of. They're like, this is bullshit. I went to jail for this, and now anybody can smoke. And I'm like,
it is,
but it's the name of the game.
Yeah, it sucks. You know, and they were used to getting $5,000 a pound too.
Yeah, that's it. Like, damn it. Legalization cut right in.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So right about now, like what's taking up most of your time?
Actually, brewing and producing the fish shit and bottling it.
Oh, okay.
So that is, yeah, and then part of that would be scaling up too. But most of it right now is.
So you guys don't have bottle filling machines? You're filling by hand?
Everything is done by hand. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, have you thought about like scaling up yet?
Yeah. So we're in the I'm putting plans together to start doing that. Which is easy. Like in my, I can work within my existing, facility right now, because a lot of it, I was still part of it's being used. Like I've got, the bottles and stuff like that I keep in there, which, I got to get those out and put down. So there's plenty of space to expand, which is really cool.
But you already have like a plan for expansion?
Yeah.
Just executing?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. And when the need is there, because we're still, we're right there, ready to, go to the next level.
Yeah. How many, because you guys are global now, right? How many countries are you in like now?
So I know, besides the United States, we are not, I don't think, we're not in Canada stores, but we've been, getting our fingers into the Canadian market a little bit and the UK. And I know that it's kind of made its way outside of the UK into Europe, and so it's around. But we've been selling in shipping pallets over to the UK.
Wow.
So
that's a big move.
Hand-filled pallets.
That's it. Yes. Everything. It's hand fit, like the whole operation. It's all done by hand. It's like I equate it to a like a really high end cheese making operation. Because if you look at some the Italian Parmesan cheeses that they make with the really high end stuff. It's still all made. Everything's a lot of hands-on work. Because the more automation, the harsher it is on the organisms.
Makes sense.
So you want to treat them with kit gloves and get.
I'd imagine it'd be hard to have automated stuff too, because then like if you don't clean it out all the way, there's like bacteria left over. It seems like a lot more issues could arise from having it automated too. So I see why you held back on it for sure.
Yeah. Well, more just the expense.
Really? Yeah.
It's cheaper for me to fill the bottles up, than
That's why you're immune to the smell.
Yeah, seriously.
You're around.
You guys must be getting pretty good, because it's all over me right now. And usually when I walk into a place, people are like,
I can't smell it.
No. We're nose blind to it too. It's like when we go out in our field, we're like, wow, it smells like a cherry Tootsie Pop, and everybody else like, it smells like weed. Like, all right, very well.
Exactly.
I don't even like smell cannabis anymore. Like it's like the skunky smell that everybody says. Like I never smell that. I smell the terps.
Yeah. You stop smelling the big smells.
Yep.
Which kind of I don't really like, because then I don't know when I smell like weed.
Same. I never know.
Like I don't know. I'm like walking up. You go someplace and
Usually this is how I know. I walk in and people go,
Yeah.
Somebody,
that's me.
Well, you walk by somebody in an aisle and they turn their head and they got a shit-eating grin on their face, like, oh.
Or if somebody like behind me, hey man.
Yeah.
You smell good, dude.
Like, okay.
Yeah, dude, you're right.
It's all legal, man.
I have people, like I work DoorDash part-time, and like I deliver to a lot of colleges and stuff, and so many of the time they're like, hey bro, you want to hit my vape pen? I'm like, nah, I'm good, fam, I'm good. Like I don't trust any vape pens that don't come from me,
Right,
but it's just funny how everybody looks at me like, I know he's a stoner. I just know it. Got that vibe. So were you passionate about cannabis prior to the whole fish shit movement to the aquaponics
You,
thing?
you know what? Not really. You know, it was always I was a fan, but never like like I didn't really grow very much before I got into the agricultural part of when I was teaching. It really wasn't part of. I just didn't really do it. Just the people had it, I'd smoke it.
Casual.
It's yep.
So were you really interested in, like, when you were growing up, like, say, middle school, high school, were you really interested in science, or did you have entrepreneurial tendencies?
Yes. Yeah. So I was always, I was always a nerd, always geeking out, but I had that, it was, I went into college to get a chemistry degree. And at the time, I didn't really think much about it, but getting a chemistry degree, that's like, the king of the nerds right there.
Yep.
It's like, chemistry, but it didn't really register, so I was like, oh, I guess I really am like that,
Yeah. So did you do anything like yard sales or lemonade stands when you were growing up as a kid, selling candy bars?
Yeah. I had the lemonade stand, and I was always, come up with one scheme or another.
So entrepreneurial stuff, it's always been there.
It was always there. And then even when I was teaching, I was selling real estate. I was always hustling. Real estate. I coached.
Wow. So you got a packed schedule for a very long time. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. I never would have even imagined a teacher as cool as you. Like, I've met you a few times, and I'm like, all my teachers sucked. Like, seriously. I'm just like, if my teachers were like you, I might have actually enjoyed school, Like,
Could have not hated science.
I literally, like, I tell them that all the time. I'm like, dude, I fucking hated science in school. It was I purposely took no science classes my junior and senior year. I just was like, nope, music. Put me into music classes, and it was just because of teachers and stuff. I never felt like anything was worth. I was just like, eh.
You know what it is? I think because a lot of teachers, at least this is how I felt, a lot of teachers didn't like what they were doing.
Yep.
So it's like they were probably holding onto their steering wheel in the parking lot,
before they go.
screaming. Too,
Yeah,
like they didn't want to be there.
These fucking kids!
But it's the passion. So
Yeah.
every once in a while, you'll find a teacher that has passion for what they're doing, and they really love what they're doing, and it's that rubs off to students. And when you have a teacher like that, you're like, oh wow, that is really cool. Now I'm interested. And it seems like that's the type of teacher that you were really interested in. Did you teach chemistry?
I taught chemistry.
Chemistry.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, that's pretty much the reaction I would get. The kids would, this is my favorite class of the day. What are we gonna blow up today? Kind of thing. It was be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The students, they want you to be interesting. They really are. They're thirsty for that knowledge. They and if you bore them to death with worksheets and if you worry too much about make sure you got to hit that curriculum. If you as a teacher, if you worry too much about that, then it becomes stale. And you're just, all you are is worried about what's over your shoulder, is somebody got to say something to you, rather than just having fun with it. And making it interesting for the students.
Go ahead.
Is there anything right now that you're super nerding out about? Like every once in a while, I'll go down a rabbit hole on the internet and be like, oh, this is really tissue culture. This is fascinating. Then I'll read all the shit I can about tissue culture. Is there anything that you're looking up right now?
The other day I saw an article on warp drive. That some people are starting to write papers on it, that it's like actually legit. It's feasible. Yeah.
What's warp drive?
Like
Star Trek?
Like Star Trek, like Star Wars, faster than light travel. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Somebody wrote a paper on it. Because they theorize. So now because they're gathering the data from, they're actually measuring the data coming from a black hole.
Yeah.
Much like that movie. Interstellar.
Okay.
So they had to figure out a way to get off planet, but they couldn't solve Einstein's equations, because they didn't know the gravity waves or what. I don't really know a heck of a lot about it, but so they needed they needed more information. So when they went, Matthew McConaughey went in the black hole, got the data, then they could figure it out and they could get off planets. Because once you solve gravity,
Yeah.
then you can, you can travel. Yeah, you can, use that, energy in the universe to propel yourself. But so that there's a lot of, it's like there's like a bubble. You make a bubble around the spaceship or whatever, and it like pulls and pushes at the same time. But it's good. But it's really cool. I'm like, oh, so yeah. Now I'm like reading articles. Yeah.
It reminds me of like I know a couple of years ago I was reading up to like invisibility, and I guess somehow there's a way to like wrap light around an object, and then by the time it reaches the other side, it reconnects. So that either wherever you're standing, you're seeing around that object, so it's like it's not even there. So it sounds like the way that you're describing the anti-gravity is kind of like gravity kind of goes around it and then reconnects on the other side, almost as if it's not there.
Yeah. I don't really. I just was fascinated that they were actually legitimately talking about this.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool. But so I will nerd out on shit like that.
Pretty soon we'll all have shoelaces that tie themselves.
Huh?
I do think that like half the stuff they put in movies is like, can we do this? And then they put it in movies and they try to do it for a few years, 25 years, and then they tell us about it.
It really is. Everything comes from an idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're crazy enough to think of an idea, someone else will be crazy enough to make it happen. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of time. Right?
Yeah. If there's something, if it is, so like, which is kind of funny because it's like you look at all the sci-fi, me and this other physics teacher I used to work with, we would sit there and we would geek out and so we'd just go through the list of stuff, and every time, so like invisibility, faster than light travel, teleportation, wormhole, we'd go down the list, and we would always get stuck on time travel. We'd always get stuck there. And so for everything you think of, I think time travel is the only one that is really
we might not be able to do it.
I don't know if it is, I don't know.
Yeah, not be
Can
able
you
to
go back in time? I don't know.
And it would depend too, like if they're really right about like alternative universes where like there's 10 of you in this type of situation in another universe right now or something like that. If that happens, what if you get shifted when you're time traveling to a different you? Like it's not even the same you. You wake up like, what the fuck am I doing? What is this planet? Why is it purple? Like
Yep. That's it. Yeah. So who knows? Yeah, who knows? But that was so as we nerded out, that was the only one.
No answers for that.
I want to teleport.
And it's funny how like every time it would be cool, save a lot of time.
Yeah. Oh, I need to get to New York.
What Elon Musk is working on, the new form of transportation. Have you seen that? Not like the railways, but he's thinking about like sending people straight up, and as the world turns, you come back down. And he's saying that you can go from one end of the world to the opposite end of the world in like 2 hours, because you're shooting straight up, and as the world is spinning, and you're kind of like traveling really fast downward, and then you kind of land. So you go up and then land, and on the other side of the world, 2 hours.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. How do you negate for like, wind resistance, and you would have to like shoot up at a certain, I'm sure you could calculate for that, but
and most people would probably get sick from that.
Go
10,000 miles in 2 hours.
It's straight up. I bet you vomit.
Yeah, the G-forces are probably nuts. It's like a fighter pilot.
Don't wear your nice.
How do you get launched up? You
have to be going fast to be going straight up.
Or to escape gravity, or most of the Earth's atmosphere, right? I don't know. How
you'd have to use like a rail gun or something like that, attached to a rail gun and shoot out.
Isn't that how they like launch like fighter jets from the ocean? To kind of a rail gun?
Now they used to be like a steam catapult, but I think they're switching to the electromagnetic.
I always wondered how they did that. How they're just like.
Just take off.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Military, man. That's how a lot of the interesting stuff comes about, because you kind of really get stuck in a hard spot where like, all right, we need to figure this out. We've got a problem in war and everything's at stake. Let's figure it out. and then the solution comes about, everything gets settled, and then they're like, all right, well, we figured this out here, use it for everything now.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of it comes from that. It's actually funny. I'm laughing because one of my like conspiratory-minded friends put up something about how Russia said that they're getting a weapon ready for intergalactical war or something. I was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think you know. Well, I mean, but it is really cool. Like they released some of that footage of the Navy. The Navy fighters tracking the UFOs. Did you guys see that?
No.
You guys didn't see that?
No.
Oh my God, it was crazy. So so the video was from like 2016. So these Hornets, F-18 Hornets, they have like a electronic pod that can use video and IR and everything to track targets. And so they locked onto these UFOs, and they have the video of the UFO, and they're like, the pilots are like, what the fuck is this thing? Like, can you see that thing? What is that? We can't track it. It's going too fast. Blah, blah, blah. What the hell? And they were like, and then they were talking, and then it just like, they would track it for a little bit, and then it just disappeared. They were like, the pilots are like, what the fuck was that?
It's on video?
Yeah, it's all over YouTube.
I'm probably gonna look it up
yeah.
as soon as we're done with this thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy, So Putin saying that we might have to get ready for that. We might not be out of the room.
Yeah. He was saying something. The person who posted something about like a giant laser that they're getting ready. He's like, all right,
a giant laser.
fire the laser. That's hilarious. So, what do you, going back to like entrepreneurship? What do you think like one of the most important things you've learned in this whole journey of fishing?
It is the grit and the perseverance, and if you have an idea, you have to sacrifice to get there, and if you don't have that, then you need to do something else.
Yeah.
If you can't fight through those hard times, then you're not going to make it.
Rumble.
Nope.
Were there any moments where you almost quit?
There were a lot of times when I wanted to, but it was never like, it never seriously was going to happen.
It's one of those things that you get frustrated. I'm sick of this shit, and then like a few hours later, you're like, whatever.
Yeah. It was in between. So every once in a while, like once I left my, the job that I'd been there for a while teaching, it was hard to keep a teaching job because then you become untenured, and I would get laid off. So every time I'd be like in between, it would be really hard to be like, is this what do I want to keep pushing with this? Because I still had to pay. I still had I still had all that expense. To keep it going, and but there was never a serious, like I wasn't, I always knew it was like this is it. It's fish shit or bust. You know.
I love it.
Yeah.
All in.
It was all in. It didn't. No stopping.
Yeah, I really thought you guys have been around for like even longer as fish shit. Like when you told me you guys have been around for 3 years, I was like, oh, wow, that's awesome. Like I've kind of grown with you guys. Like obviously you guys are scaling way up, but I'm like, I started with 2 plants and now we're up to 130 plus nurseries and stuff. It's we're building right alongside you guys.
Awesome.
It's awesome that you guys are a town over. Like that's even
Super cool.
In New England, as would expect, New England is our biggest market right now, just because that's where we've been selling into for the longest. And guys like you are. Like you said, you grew up where you started using fishing. You're like, wow, this stuff works, and it becomes part of your repertoire, and that's what I like to see.
It's so natural. Like if you look at all of the competition, none of it is as natural as fish shit, and that's what really drew me to using it. Is because when we were looking at fertilizing the hemp field, and I kind of like look back to how my father grew vegetables, and it always used fish. So I was always looking up, I mean, even look at like the Egyptians with the Nile. The Nile would flood, and it would flood all of this beautiful silt and fish shit all over, and then they were able to really expand, and now we have Egypt.
Yeah.
It's like
now we have modern day agriculture.
Yeah.
But like it was the same thing. So I'm looking up. All right, I know microbiology is super important to plant health, and it's just a matter of what kind of microbes. What kind of microbes help plants? Thinking, well, it makes sense, fish. And then I find fish shit. I'm like, wow, look at all this. There's like this. I go on your website and there's a wheel of all the different microbes. I'm like, this is perfect. And then I find out that not only are you guys local, but somebody that we know knows you. So I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing.
And then boom, go to a CGA meeting and link up. And here we are.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's now it's getting fun.
Yeah.
You know, we've kind of broke, because now, like, years ago, I didn't have people, wow, really, a lot of, but
Doing
being excited.
presentations and,
It's and you go to the shows and people are really excited they want to talk about their plants with you. They want to talk about fish shit. And that's now it's fun.
Yeah. We definitely
really
feel that
enjoying
100%. Like
ourselves.
speaking on panels, like giving people growing advice that are twice our age. Like this is shit that we didn't even think was gonna happen a year ago. Like this wasn't even on the scope, and it's just like it's crazy. It's honestly so humbling. I'm sure you feel the same way. Like it's crazy.
And I love it. I love making it. For you, like you guys who are using it and putting on the plants, and your plants love it.
Yeah.
So that's, at the end of the day,
Everybody's happy.
Happy plants.
We'll post a picture of the plant that we were trimming up the other day for harvest coming up here soon, and oh my god, literally, I wish I had it with me. I don't have my mug, but you could hide that behind it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
On all
I
the
remember,
notes.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I remember
It's
wrapping my
big-
hands around, and it's like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Times like
base
15
nugs,
to 20
yeah.
on multiple plants.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't grow like the Christmas tree style. We tied everything down so the whole plant is tops.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rhododendron.
Yep, it is. It really is. Oh my god.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like in the beginning, we'd be working in the field. I'd pull up to Andy's house and be like, "Oh, Andy's working." Now I'm like,
Is it you?
Yeah.
"Andy, Andy, you back there?" Can't see shit.
I know. It's
So
great.
in your growth, in your expansion, were there those moments where you hit like, wow, this is actually working?
Yeah, there were several points where once, in selling the fish shit, that we were like, yeah, it was
Like,
wow,
big orders.
I think this is gonna happen. Yeah, when we started, we started getting stores, and because we thought we would sample, we'd give samples out to stores,
Yep.
and they would give them out, and then we would sit there and wait. So it was like fishing,
Yeah.
throw the bait in the water and wait and see who came back for more.
I like the analogy.
And and so he's sitting there, and I feel sometimes you feel like in Jaws, you feel like Quint sitting there, and all of a sudden you hear the click, like he's waiting
Right.
for the shark. That first scene,
Yeah.
and you hear the click, and then you start strapping in. So that's what I feel like sometimes. That's what I felt like when those first stores were like, hey, yeah, we got people coming back that really like your product. Yeah, we'll take an order.
Wow.
And that was like click. And then another store. Yeah, we'll take an order too.
And then a
Yeah,
chain.
send this up. And then they would, yeah, okay, that's going to be, where's your credit card? And they'd give us their credit card number. Click. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is gonna happen.
Right.
People laying down their cash for fish shit, and and now, and we've kept following that same model, and I'm sure you guys,
Yep.
yeah, here's some samples. Get those little sample bottles, and you put them on your plants, and you come
That's
back, and
awesome.
you notice a change.
Within a day or two, literally.
Yeah.
If you go from not using microbes on your plants to then using fish shit, you're literally gonna notice it like that.
And yeah, and that's and then people would come by, they asking for people would ask for the product, and now and so now we're
Click,
Really?
and
And now it's
we're-
just
trying,
So that would the big marketing kind of tactic was to give yourself away.
yeah, that's what it was. Yep, give it
Jab,
away.
jab, jab, right hook.
Put it in people's hands. Let them see for themselves, because with buying anything, there's usually you either buy it because you tried it and you liked it and you noticed something. So then now you're like, okay, that's worth the money, or a friend recommends it. And that's usually, the two ways. So now, so if we give it to the people, let them try it, they're going to tell their friends about it.
Yep, 100%.
How'd you come up with your logo? I love that.
So the logo.
I never really like actually like taking it in and reading a fucking newspaper. That's awesome.
It just hit me one day, because I'm developing the product and I'm like, what am I gonna, and it was just like, I'm just gonna call it fish shit. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
And then I came, a name, and I described, I just told a friend of mine, I said, hey, this is what I'm thinking for a logo.
Yeah.
And she drew it up on a napkin, on a piece of paper, literally a piece of just, scrap paper.
Yeah.
And, and then we went from there.
That's it.
I was like, man, she hit it right in the first shot. It was awesome, yeah. So that's it's like, that's what you look like when somebody busts in you, you're taking a dump, and somebody comes in, you're like,
Oh wait, I didn't even notice the toilet. What the hell?
never?
No, I've never noticed the toilet. Oh my god. That might be one of the greatest logos in the world.
Yeah,
I'm taking it all away. That's so great. We're gonna pop this like right on the screen so you guys can like fully enjoy it too. That's fucking awesome.
I want a T-shirt.
You want, yeah?
I would wear that all the
Oh,
time.
yeah. So we got the,
You
so you can buy, you can buy
sell
these on our
merch?
website. Yeah.
Cool.
So we get the logo on our website and stuff like that. I'm coming up with some, some other, this is more of our promo kind of logo, but we need, I'm coming up with some more like fun tees with some different stuff and fish shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
so-
It would sell.
Yeah.
Cool. This has been really great. Thanks for coming on.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. I
real-
appreciate it.
real pleasure.
It was a lot of fun.
And then for our audience, where can people find you or find fish shit?
So to find fish shit, the best place, go to fishheadfarms.com and click on our store locator. And if there's no stores around you, buy off our website also.
Or go to your store and tell them that they should carry fish shit.
Yeah,
Done.
exactly. Yeah, they do not carry fish shit. You can request a free sample off our website if you haven't gotten one.
Yeah.
But most of your local hydroponic stores and now gardening stores, we're starting to get into the gardening because it works great on tomatoes.
Yeah, all
tomatoes, all your herbs.
Yep.
Everything. Everything you
Put that
put in
shit
your
on
garden. Yep, you can put that shit on everything. That's I wonder how, I wonder if, I don't know if we can
I bet
use
you
that
could say
like a radio.
put fish shit on everything.
Put fish shit on everything. The Frank's Red Hot there. Yeah, what to get? What?
Yeah, I wonder if they
what
have
to
that
get
Betty-
Betty White to do it for
We
us?
need one.
Get Betty White to say, I put fish shit on everything.
That'd be
So if
awesome.
you listen, Betty, give us a call.
Thanks for tuning into another episode.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
Make sure if you enjoyed what you watched or heard that you subscribe to the channel. And a special thank you to Mary from Striking Beauties for letting us shoot her location as always. Peace.
Cool.
All right, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, we could just sit here and nerd out for another one.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't even get into the Mandela